This video shows you how to stretch your hair at night in less than 5 minutes. Hello and welcome to Naturally High, the channel that helps you grow your 4A, 4B and especially 4C hair to longer lengths. In my last video, I outlined the process of creating clumps from loose rope twists. Clumps are a splendid basis for what I'm about to show you, but you can also stretch loose twists and moderately detangled loose hair in the same way. I'm starting on clumped hair with plaited roots. Step 1 is to optionally spritz your tresses with water. I seldom do this these days as I'm in the tropics and I'm air conditioning averse, so my hair doesn't dry overnight. If the air is drier where you are, go ahead and spritz. After that, apply your creamy leave-in of choice. I'm using Mixtress J's heavenly smelling green tea and hibiscus moisture milk. I focus the product on the ends as they need to be remolded. The leave-in contains water, so some hydrogen bonds will be broken and then reformed into the new shape of the plaits, giving them more structure and unifying them a bit more. Next, I add castor oil, which further softens my ends and prevents breakage. Now's also a time to inspect your ends to ensure that they look healthy. If we see any ends that don't look good, for example single strand knots or more complex knots or split ends, we can also preen them at this stage. The last thing we want is for our ends to get tangled from clumping. This can and will happen if you're not steadfast. Sometimes I use flaxseed gel to create new defined coils. Because flaxseed gel has a stiffening effect and it clumps my strands, it's wonderful for days when my ends look as they do here. Since this was only day 2 of these clumps' lifetime, I stretched my hair in loose plaits, enabling me to retain as much of the original crimping from my twist out as possible. As your time in your clumps goes on, or if you wear your hair in a stretched style like a bun, you may want to braid more tightly to give your clumps a new conformation. Since my ends are somewhat of a blank canvas, I plaited them more tightly to give them a fresh pattern. Are you enjoying this? Then consider nabbing yourself early access to future videos and behind the scenes footage by becoming a patron for as little as $3.99 per month. As usual, I'm wrapping my ends for maximum knot mitigation and stretch. I went on to create 4 more such plaits off camera. This is how I wrap my scarf so it doesn't slip off. By the way, excuse my sour face, it was really late and I was eager to get to bed. So, I fold the scarf in half, wrap it around my head and tie the 2 corners in a double bow. Then I tie the dangling portion in a thumb knot. Do you also need the back to be flat like this to sleep without a head or neck ache? I lie down, move the knot to the side, then drift off to a land far, far away.
It's time for bed.
It's the next day and I'm taking my plaits out. You're free to use an oil such as grapeseed or jojoba for this step if you'd like. As with all handling, I do this radically gently. I only separate my hair as it is inclined to be separated naturally, so as not to separate the clumps or cause frizz, both of which leave my strands more susceptible to breakage. This is the end result. Let's look at how my clumps evolved over time. Again, remember that my roots are plaited. This is my definition of organised chaos. I get the look of loose hair without the headache of having to part it. At this point, the clumps have been in for 12 whole days. I wouldn't recommend this as the tangling can become immense. Aim for a maximum of 1 week to be safe. And there you have it, folks. How does your stretching routine compare?